And the other thing I wanted to comment on is that if I were to go down to the city of Nederland to address their city council about the wisdom of whether or not they wanted to buy a fire truck, they probably wouldn't care too much to hear from me because I'm not a citizen of the city of Nederland. Conversely, if somebody from Nederland wanted to come to our city council and address us about the wisdom of whether or not we wanted to buy a fire truck, I'm sure we would listen politely, but we might not want to give them the same deference that somebody that is a citizen does that. And I say all that because we allow our citizens to speak and address us at city council. But we really don't know if they're really a citizen or not. People can have a Beaumont address and not be a citizen within the city limits of Beaumont. So we may want to consider a policy change so that if people that are not citizens of Beaumont, or even if they are citizens of Beaumont, address which ward that they're in so that we can have an idea where they're coming from when they address city council. Just something to think about. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Councilmember Smith.
Yes, I'd like to address Councilmember Getz with we're not going to censor anyone that wants to come and speak. If you're not from Beaumont, if you want to come speak to the council, I think you have that right. We have employees who do not live in Beaumont, so should we just circle our wagons and say if you're not from this area, you're not allowed to work in Beaumont? I think that's giving the wrong message to this city and the surrounding cities. I think if you have input about what's going on, I don't think there's anything wrong with hearing that input. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Okay.
And finally, as to those other comments that were made last week by Councilmember Samuel, who I see has left us, in which he made the claim that I wanted to challenge people from coming up to the podium because they did not live in the city of Beaumont, and that I was trying to deny their First Amendment rights to address this council. The wonderful thing about these meetings is that they are videotaped, and you can go back to the record and see what was actually said. I denied those allegations last week, and I even tried to I denied those allegations that I ever tried to prevent anyone from addressing this assembly. I invited Councilman Samuel to go back to the minutes of the meeting, or the video of that meeting, so that he and Councilmember Wright could see for themselves that my only suggestion was that people that are addressing the city council identify themselves by which ward they live in. I still think that that is a good suggestion. And I think for anybody to take that suggestion and try to make it into an accusation that I'm trying to deny people the right to address this assembly shows that they either have a bad memory or that they are deliberately trying to distort the facts. I believe in open and honest government. I am in favor of anyone addressing the council to discuss any legitimate city business or any concerns they have. That is what makes America great. In fact, it is my understanding that in a few minutes we're going to be treated to some commentary by Ricky Jason, a self-proclaimed member of the new Black Panther Party. Mr. Jason will come before this council making some outrageous allegations, but will be completely oblivious to the fact that his gang of thugs were all videoed shouting racial epithets like "cracker, go home," "you left your sheets in the car," and "go back to Jasper." The group of people that I was standing with, those that were there to protest the hypocrisy of bestowing praises on the former superintendent, refused to respond to that verbal onslaught, which infuriated Mr. Jason and his group. They then moved even closer to our group, shouting in our faces with clenched fists, trying to incite us to respond. But we would not provide them with the satisfaction. The BISD police officers assigned to the event failed to intervene as Mr. Jason and his group continued their verbal abuse and attempted intimidation. I support Mr. Jason's right to come before this council and address it. As for the validity of his claims, I simply request that you look at the news coverage of the event and judge for yourselves. It is regrettable that the divisiveness that has plagued our local school district for years is now starting to appear in City Council. I took an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution and the laws of this state when I was sworn into office, and I have a duty to do so to the best of my ability. We have a new superintendent that has taken the helm of the school district, and we can only hope and pray that he is less divisive than his predecessor. I read today that even though the population of Beaumont has grown, enrollment is down in the district. I'm hoping that Dr. Chargois and his supporters see what their prior actions are doing to this city and act to restore the faith and trust that has been missing for the last several years. I, for one, am prepared to work with them and give them the opportunity to help make Beaumont a place that we are proud to live in and raise our families. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Coleman.